Welcome. Today, we'll explore the Reserve Bank of India's Urban Cooperative Banks UCB's Interest Rate on Deposits Directions 2025. This direction outlines the framework for determining interest rates on deposits for urban cooperative banks and ensures consistency, transparency, and fairness across the sector. In this video, we will break down key provisions of these directions and help you understand how they impact deposit products, including savings, term deposits, and non-resident accounts. Let's start with the objective of these directions. They provide a comprehensive framework for urban cooperative banks to follow while formulating their policies on interest rates on deposits. These directions are applicable to all urban cooperative banks defined under Section 5 CCV of the Banking Regulation Act 1949. It covers the following deposit types: domestic rupee deposits, non-resident external NRE and non-resident ordinary NRO accounts, and foreign currency non-resident FCNR deposits. The directions aim to standardize the interest rate structures, ensuring that banks offer fair, transparent, and uniform rates across all branches. Urban cooperative banks are required to establish a board-approved policy on the following: first, interest rates on deposits, and second, penalties for premature withdrawal of term deposits, including NRE and FCNR deposits. The directions stress uniformity in interest rates across all branches and customers for similar deposits. This means interest rates must be set as per a disclosed schedule in advance and cannot be negotiated by individual depositors. Now, let's dive into the details of domestic deposits. Current accounts. These accounts will not earn interest. However, if a balance remains in a deceased individual's current account, interest will be paid at the savings deposit rate from the date of death until repayment to the claimant. Savings deposits. For domestic rupee savings deposits, interest will be calculated on a daily product basis. A uniform interest rate applies to balances up to 1 lakh rupees, while differential rates may apply to balances above that amount. The term deposits. Interest rates for term deposits will vary based on tenure. The minimum tenure for term deposits is 7 days. Size. Bulk deposits attract differential interest rates. And premature withdrawal. The rates paid on term deposits withdrawn prematurely will be lower than the contracted rate, depending on the duration the deposit remained with the bank. There are also provisions for additional interest on deposits. Banks can offer 1% additional interest to their staff and certain executive roles on term deposits. However, this is subject to specific conditions, such as continuing employment and not exceeding certain limits. When it comes to penalties for premature withdrawal, each bank must have a comprehensive policy in place. If a term deposit is split due to a deceased depositor's request, no penalty will be levied, provided there are no changes to the amount or term. For non-resident external NRE and non-resident ordinary NRO deposits, interest rates should align with the general rules laid out for domestic deposits, but with some key differences. NRE deposits. These must be held for a minimum period of 1 year for term deposits, and banks have the freedom to offer them without the premature withdrawal option. NRO deposits. They can have a minimum term of 7 days and are subject to the same rate ceilings as domestic term deposits. Importantly, no additional interest for staff or senior citizens is applicable to these accounts. FCNR deposits also have unique terms. The interest rates are linked to external benchmarks such as the swap rates or alternative reference rates ARR. Maturity period. The term can range from 1 year to 5 years. Floating rates. Interest is recalculated every 6 months and will be based on an external benchmark. Penalty on premature withdrawal. FCNR deposits can be withdrawn early, but penalties may apply depending on the remaining tenure. In case of the death of a depositor, the interest on their deposit will be calculated based on the applicable interest rate at the time of maturity or withdrawal. For FCNR and NRE accounts, the terms will be adjusted based on the type of account and when the claim is made. Interest will continue to be paid on the deposit until it is closed or transferred, in line with the directions outlined by the bank. Finally, there are prohibitions banks must adhere to when dealing with deposits. Banks are not allowed to pay remuneration, fees, or commissions for deposits except in specific cases, such as business facilitators. They cannot offer prizes, lotteries, or incentives for deposit mobilization. Additionally, they cannot accept interest-free deposits other than those in current accounts. Exemptions are provided for certain entities like government departments, non-profit organizations, and certain other specific sectors. Thank you for joining me to explore the Reserve Bank of India's Interest Rate on Deposits Directions 2025 for urban cooperative banks. These guidelines ensure that deposit rates are transparent, consistent, and fair. If you're working with UCBs, it's crucial to align your policies with these standards to ensure compliance and trust in the banking system. Moonses and Management Consultants LLP, a trusted partner for SEZ and IFSC Excellence. A pioneer in establishing IFSC units within GIFT City in India, delivering end-to-end IFSC setup, operational support, and handling complaints, risk management, renowned for deep expertise in regulatory approvals, capital markets, fund management, insurance, finance company, foreign university, and ancillary regulations, and fintech, expertise in customs clearance for aircraft and ship procurement, leasing, GST, DSPF, CSCA, comprehensive support covering registration, reporting, and regulatory transitions, ensuring ring-fencing, transparency, and global compliance standards. Join our network, scan the QR codes below to stay connected with us.